My name is Jeff and I'm a pastor, and today we are going to talk about a psalm, and in particular we are talking about Psalm 137. So if you want to open up a Bible, you can do that, or you can head over to BibleGateway.com and you can type in Psalm 137 in the handy little search bar there, and it'll get you to the right place. A little bit of context about this psalm. The people of Israel have been conquered by the Babylonian Empire. Now, whenever an empire conquered a new territory, they needed to make sure that the people in that new territory weren't going to rise up against them. And so what the Babylonians did was take the people in that territory and then move them to another part of the Babylonian Empire. This was a way to keep the people in line. It was also a way to kind of shame the people. Like, you believe that God put you in this land? Well, I'll show you. We're going to put you over here. Where's your God now? So the people of Israel have just gone through this. They are in exile in Babylon, far away from home, far away from the places that they used to know and love, and far away from the temple where they used to worship God. So that's the context of this psalm, Psalm 137. Let's get to it. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and there we wept when we remembered Zion. Let's stop there. Notice that this takes place on the rivers of Babylon. This was the Tigris and the Euphrates, and these were a source of transportation for the Babylonians and also a source of power for the Babylonians. Right? Whenever there's an ancient civilization, tends to be located on water, because water meant power, water meant travel. So all of this is to say that whoever's writing this psalm is sitting down next to the thing that is causing them the most pain. The power of the Babylonians embodied by these two rivers. So, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and there we wept when we remembered Zion. On the willows, there we hung our harps. They can't sing their songs anymore, their songs of celebration. For there our captors asked for songs, and our tormentors asked for mirth, saying, "Sing us one of the songs of Zion." In other words, like the Babylonians are saying to the Israelites, "Oh, sing us one of those songs about how powerful your God is and how great it is to be living in God's land." That'll be cute, right? They're rubbing salt in the wound here. Let's keep going. How could we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand wither, let my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth if I don't remember you, if I do not set Jerusalem above my highest joy. Now it's going to get ugly. So just a heads up, I'm going to be talking about some pretty violent things here. So somebody said that in one of my last videos, somebody commented that I started talking about cannibalism while they were eating lunch. If you're eating lunch, maybe put down the old chopsticks for a second. I shouldn't be laughing. This is actually really bad. So in verse 7, remember, O Lord, against the Edomites, the day of Jerusalem's fall, how they said, tear it down, tear it down, tear it down to the foundations. The Edomites were the Israelites' next door neighbors and kind of their enemies. So whoever's writing this, the Israelite that's writing this, is kind of saying, remember, Lord, against the people who were cheering the Babylonians on when they tore our city apart. Remember those people who were cheering at our downfall. And then this is the really bad part, verse 8. O daughter Babylon, you devastator, happy shall they be who pay you back what you have done to us. Happy shall they be who take your little ones and dash them against the rock. This is something that the Babylonians did when they took over a new city, is that they would attack children, they would attack babies right in front of their parents as a form of shock and awe, and as a way to scare them into subjugation. So, at the end of this psalm, we see, happy shall they be who take your little ones and dash them against the rock. Or another translation is, blessed shall we be when we get revenge against the Babylonians. This is a prayer for revenge. This is a very raw, very violent prayer for revenge. Quick thing about the book of Psalms was used in worship for the ancient Israelites, or was sort of used as a prayer book, which means that the ancient Israelites were regularly praying this prayer. So we might ask ourselves, why? Why is this even in the Bible when it sounds a little bit more like Nine Inch Nails and a little bit less like King David, right? Like, this sounds terrible. And yet, here it is in this ancient prayer book. And I think that what we have to learn from this is the fact that God accepts all of our raw emotions. Is revenge and vengeance and dashing babies against rocks for the sake of revenge a good thing? No, of course not. And we can all agree with that. But as far as these emotions where we deeply desire revenge, we can turn that into a prayer that is acceptable to God. See, the book of Psalms, it's like it invites all of our emotions to have some sort of expression. When we come before God, we don't have to bury our emotions, even the ones that we're most embarrassed about, even the ones that we might be afraid that we're feeling in a given moment. God accepts us even with all of these emotions. Now, something that drove this home for me recently is the fact that Jesus was an ancient Israelite, which means that Jesus likely prayed this prayer one time or another. This prayer for revenge. Now, am I saying that Jesus condones revenge or, anything like that? Of course not. Read through the Gospels and see some of the other things that Jesus says. But again, it kind of drives this point home that God accepts us even with all of our emotions, even the ones that we're most afraid of. God invites us to give them some sort of expression. So look, are you angry? Are you devastated? Do you really want revenge against a person? And when I'm talking anger, I'm talking about that deep anger, that anger that's been festering for 10, 20, 30 years. And you start to wonder, can I actually give this any sort of expression? I mean, I need to hide these emotions. These are scary. But the book of Psalms invites us to bring all of these emotions to God and know that God will accept us even with all of these emotions, and that God invites us to give some sort of voice even to what we might call these dark or shadowy emotions. All right, so that's Psalm 137. Honestly, one of my favorite Psalms, just because it drives home that point so well, that God accepts us even with all of our raw human emotions. So check that one out and let it be an invitation to maybe unload, to give some of your emotions that you've been trying to avoid some kind of expression, and know that God accepts you. Grace and peace, everybody.